Before I begin my remarks, please allow me a moment to thank our wonderful staff for putting this evening together, and more importantly, their work 24/6 in behalf of our community. They're the real heroes. Next, I want to thank Mark and AJ because we have a process called onboarding, and they have taught me a lot. I'm prepared for whatever disaster may befall us. Seriously, there's a saying that there was no sunlight between us, no light between us. That's true. AJ and I and Mark, it's amazing the level to which we agreed on virtually everything, mostly because I gave in to them. Last, I want to thank my family for the support that they give me. I want to thank Jerry because she supports me, she counsels me, she calms me down. More importantly, she puts up with my mishegas. I love you. In our tradition, a bride and a groom stand under the chuppah at their wedding. The chuppah can be elaborate and decorated, or it can be as simple as 4 poles supporting a tallis. What is common to both is that they have no sides, no walls. The chuppah symbolizes our hope and prayer that a couple builds a home, a Jewish home, that is open and welcome to family, friends, and neighbors, both new and old. Now, this custom can be traced back to our patriarch, Abraham. Our sages teach us that Abraham's tent, called an ohel in Hebrew, was open on 4 sides so that he and his family could welcome travelers from all directions and provide for their needs. Abraham's chesed, his kindness to newcomers, and the symbolism of the chuppah should be lessons to all of us as we live our lives. But more than that, they serve as an important reminder that as a Jewish community, we should always be thinking about how to widen the tent. Not only should we provide assistance to those in times of need, but we should always keep our doors open to bring in new people, to re-engage neighbors, and to help them feel welcome and part of our community. In other words, to belong to our kahila, our community, by benefiting from, by participating in, and contributing to it. My wife, Jerry, and I stood under the chuppah almost 40 years ago in this very synagogue. Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, you know what you're in for now? Okay. We and our 3 daughters have been part of the Jewish community for years. In fact, Jerry and her parents and her brothers were all born here. There are many people in this room and many watching at home that believe, as do we, that we know Dallas, we know the community, and that we're committed to its vibrancy for generations to come. But could it be that many of us only think we know Dallas? We know the established neighborhoods and the Jewish institutions that have been here for decades. Those deserve our respect and our stewardship, but they do not capture the entirety of the current Jewish community of Greater Dallas. Now, we've been talking for years about Dallas being one of the fastest growing cities in America, and we know that every day there are Jews moving to the Metroplex. But they're not all in the familiar zip codes. In fact, we have to step up our game in identifying and reaching out to our new landsmen. The community is no longer concentrated in Preston Hollow, Preston Forest, and Preston Frankfurt. We're now as far south as Deep Elm and Bishop Arts, and as far north as Frisco, Allen, Prosper, even Rockwall, and everywhere in between. We need to upgrade our technology, our systems, our methods, our style of communication to identify, to reach, and to connect with our fellow Jews, whether they're newcomers, unattached, or worse, withdrawn from the community. I want to challenge each of us to open our tents on all sides in the coming years. As board chair, I'm committed to welcoming newcomers, the unaffiliated and the disengaged, to the community, to our family at the Federation, to ensure that Kahila extends beyond the traditional footprint. I ask everyone here, our lay leaders, our volunteers, our community connectors, our Rabbanim, to keep our eyes and your eyes open and your antennas up. Next time you meet someone at the golf course, at the grocery store, at a PTA meeting, or a dinner party, don't assume they're already involved. Help us connect with them by forwarding their name and any other info you might have about them. Let us have the info. You are our best referral source. And let me remind you, a good word goes a long, long way. Moreover, the Federation must be a home and a resource to everyone. The face of the Jewish community is complex and diverse and is rapidly changing. According to the recent Pew study about American Jewry, there's a wide range of views and attitudes about Jewish life, especially amongst younger Jews, and that gap is only growing. On one hand, we learn that over 30% of those polled under 30 indicate they are, quote, Jews of no religion. On the other, the number of Jews under 30 who identify as traditionally observant has grown dramatically. The middle ground, it seems, whether it be politics or religion, is shrinking. As a federation, we must strive to be a home for and to serve everyone. We're one community, we're one people, and we have one destiny. At Federation, we have to come together on issues that unite us. We have to seek common ground. We have to respect differences. And we have to invest in all segments of Jewish life. That's our mission. Widening the tent isn't just limited to bringing in new people and re-engaging with others. It includes working with and supporting more organizations and agencies in the community. As we grow and become more spread out, new groups have been formed to serve the community, especially in those areas where there is little Jewish infrastructure. I will urge our board, our staff, and committees to seek more partnering opportunities with groups, including those that have not historically been connected with our federation. I believe the Federation will benefit from a more prominent presence in all places where Jews seek to engage Jewishly. Our partnership and involvement with others can act as a rising tide that lifts all boats. Last year, based on feedback from our donors, we began to expand both the number of beneficiaries receiving funding and to place greater emphasis on grants for specific projects. As we close this campaign, we're about to release a list of beneficiaries. I'm pleased to report that we added 16 organizations to our list of local partners receiving assistance. We will continue in that direction. We will put greater emphasis on transparency, and we will add more volunteers to committees allocating funds, and we're going to do a better job of educating our donors regarding your investment in community. Our donors have to understand that Federation touches lives from birth to bris to bar mitzvah to burial and everything in between. We can and should be talking with pride about Federation's enormous and direct impact on our community. And I look forward to working with the professional team and lay leadership to find out how we can better communicate that message. This from a guy who has no Facebook page. Regrettably, security is and will remain a top priority at Federation. Through our Community Security Initiative, which was founded in 2017, we monitor and we act as liaison with law enforcement. We advise Jewish groups regarding security needs. We provide additional guards during periods of heightened risk. We assist in writing grants. And importantly, we provide funding to congregations, to schools and other entities for cameras, locks, fencing, and other security needs. To date, your Federation has invested over $1.4 million in security locally. Now, through the Jewish Community Relations Council, we're going to continue Federation's steadfast support of Israel and its right to defend herself, as well as efforts to combat anti-Semitism from Washington to Austin and in the court of public opinion. Moreover, we will continue to support those in need in Israel through our incredible partnership with the Western Galilee, through the funding to the Jewish Agency and the Joint Distribution Committee, and through travel. We must continue to build the connection between our community here and the land of Israel and the people of Israel. And I believe travel is key. We're planning 2 major missions for the community during my time as board chair. The first is a mission for pace setters to the UAE and Israel, tentatively scheduled for March 22, and a second community-wide mission to Israel in the spring of 2023. We can't wait to take Dallas to our Jewish homeland. I also look forward to seeing the launch, should I say the relaunch, of the Israel Teen Tour in the summer of 2022, after a 15-year hiatus. Please keep that in mind with respect to all of the teens in your life who would be interested in a summer in Israel with our federation. Now, our mission to build community should, I believe, place more emphasis on Jewish learning in all its forms, no matter one's age, stage in life, and not necessarily through schools alone, but through Jewish camping, Israel experience, innovative learning for teens, adults, and preteens. I will continue to support the Federation Center for Jewish Education in its efforts to be innovative and an incubator for Jewish learning in our community. Now, the campaign. It's at the core of our business. It's the fuel that allows the committee to do everything that it does. It's a point of pride for all of us that nearly 6,000 donors participate in the campaign every year, raising in excess of $10 million. Due to the generosity of our donors, we've weathered downturns in the economy, real estate slumps, a tornado, an ice storm, a pandemic, and we've always come through for our fellow Jews when they're in need. But as the community grows, so too must the campaign. There's so much good work that needs to be done and so many mitzvot that need to be performed. If the past year of COVID has taught us anything, it's that our community is resilient and that interpersonal connections can see us through any hardship. We want to carry those lessons with us going forward. Well, how can we do that? Well, Federation's fundraising should be centered around building relationships that make us feel proud of our investment, not simply making an annual gift. We're thinking more about you, the donor, the community. We want you to be inspired. We want you to be connected more than ever. We don't want you to feel like you're giving your gift out of a sense of duty, obligation. That's just what you're supposed to do. Over the next 2 years, I hope we can begin to have more conversations about the enormous impact that leaving a legacy gift can have on the future of Jewish Dallas to ensure our community's vibrancy for decades to come. Establishing an endowment is a simple, truly impactful act that you can do now, regardless of age, that will pay dividends for our community's future and will signal to your families the importance of tzedakah. In a more practical sense, that means you're going to be hearing from our professionals and our incredible volunteers who are going to actually ask to meet with you to talk about your priorities and your passions. Well, when they ask you for coffee or a Zoom, please say yes. We want to know you better, and we want community members like each of you to be proud of what we collectively are building and the impact we are having through your tzedakah. And we want to hear your views regarding the direction of your federation. Your views will help our staff and board set out priorities and will help guide our actions. I want to hear from you. After all, it's your money that we're investing in our future. Last, one of my first acts as board chairs will be to appoint a search committee for a new Federation CEO. I look forward to identifying a dedicated group of leaders with experience in hiring at the executive level and with knowledge of our community and its needs. Please reach out to me if you have recommendations. We see ourselves as a world-class Jewish community, and we will find a world-class leader to help us go to the next level. I stand here today energized by the opportunity to lead this organization for the next 2 years. Following Abraham's example, I look forward to sitting at the entrance of our communal tent, not as a gatekeeper, but as a greeter. Let us begin this new chapter after a year of isolation with a good spirit. And finally, with God's help, let us meet the future with open arms, open tents, open hearts, and an open checkbook. Thank you. I think I'm also supposed to close the evening, but it's not on the teleprompter, so I'm going to ad-lib it. On your way out tonight, there are some gift bags at the back of the foyer, and we please ask you to take a bag with you. And I'm going to see if there's something else I'm supposed to say. Give me a minute. Thank you for joining us. How's that? That's it. It's a wrap. Thank you and God bless.